What's up, everybody? This is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse and the LCC Network for Week 17 of the Fantasy Offseason. No, sorry, not Week 17, Episode 17. We're actually like Week 19. Had a 2-week hiatus due to just a lot in life, honestly, going on. But with me today, I have got Jameson back on the show for another episode. What is it? This is going to be like your third or fourth episode, I feel like, this offseason now.
I know I'm gonna spoil you if I keep doing this.
You are.
I've got to stop.
You're going to be a permanent guest if you don't watch it. I'm just kidding.
I'll be back on the show again.
Oh, man. All right, so since the last time we recorded, we've had the keeper deadline. We had a GM quit the league, and I feel like we've had someone new join too. What else? What else has happened? Like we're a week away, a little over a week away from the deadline to enter the rookie draft. Which means like roughly 2 weeks away from the actual rookie draft. So a lot, man. I feel like a lot's gone on, like from fantasy at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think Logan's new since
Yes.
so we can welcome Logan to the group. Welcome, Logan.
Woo!
Like you said, we did have Billy Ray, a tenured member, leave. We did have a little bit of a keeper fiasco, but I think all in all, most guys are pretty understanding of the rules, it seems like, and pretty accepting of that, which was good. Yeah, here we are, 2 weeks from the rookie draft. I'm really excited for the rookie draft, especially with our new rules with the pick limit. That's going to be interesting to see what guys do from a strategic perspective.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see how that unfolds. Just really interesting because now I think people are going to be more or they're going to have to be more strategic in how they do that. Unlike when years past, people would enter like every single pick they had, basically.
Yes.
It was a lot
so
of skipping.
quick question of the day. You told me I could think of one, and I've thought of one.
Okay.
Who is your LCC rookie draft 101? Because it seems like there's not a consensus this year. Like usually, like last year it was Najee Harris, easy peasy. Yeah, the year before I think that was. I don't even remember the year before. Man. What year was that? That was the Jonathan Taylor year. Who was picked first that year?
In our draft? That's a good question, honestly.
I feel like that was the JT year. Who was picked? Oh, that was the Clyde Edwards-Helaire year, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And then it was Josh Jacobs. And, Devin, it's always been very like we kind of know who to expect. But this year, I'm hearing different guys are interested in that. And so I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Man, that's a tough one because I think it's going to be a running back. And I think because of that, it's got to be Breece Hall for me is the 101. I think he's got to be just because historically we've never seen any other position get picked, outside of running back for the 101 in our rookie draft. I mean, I think Kenneth Walker is another top guy, and I think James Cook. I'm not as high on him, but other people are. I really like what's his name, Dameon Pierce in Houston a lot more. Honestly, if I'm going to go with a running back there. But yeah, I would say he's more
of a sleeper. Mm-hmm. I think, right? And then later to mid rounds, if you're going to go take a chance at a running back.
Yeah.
Just remember, they do get locked to your roster, so you got to be careful about who you pick there. Any chance, because I'm playing in another league this year that Cody plays in with me, and it's almost a lock that Aiden Hutchinson's going to 101 in that league. It's a little bit different, but it's somewhat similar. Any chance that Aiden Hutchinson goes first in our league this year?
0 chance.
Any chance at all?
There's too much
chance?
Too much depth at defensive line this year. I think you would have to be like a Homer Lions fan or Michigan Wolverine fan, I think, to get Hutchinson that early, just because like there's so many defensive linemen in our draft this year, like and in the waiver wire. It's just if it wasn't for that, then you can make an argument for it, but I just don't see how that happens.
Is there any chance that guys don't put picks in as highly this year? Now that they can't put all the picks in they want, and
yes,
admittedly a lower ranked draft class, are there chances that guys don't bid as high this year?
I definitely agree with that. I think you're definitely going to see guys put fewer picks in. I still think you'll see a handful of first round picks because there's always going to be someone desperately needing a running back in our league. And I think Ken Walker and Brees Hall are probably like two safe first round rookie picks in our draft, honestly.
Okay.
Just because the situations they're in of those teams with the Jets and Seahawks. So I could see those guys going in the first round. But then outside of that, I think you see honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, maybe Hutchinson's like the third rookie picked in this draft, but God, I wouldn't take him any earlier than like the third round if it were me. Earlier than the third.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because you could go D-line, you could go receiver, and then don't forget you also have Kyle Hamilton, the Ravens safety. That's a very interesting. I mean, safeties are very valuable in our league, right? So that's a very interesting rookie pick as well. He could sneak up the board if someone wants to take a chance.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I'm excited. Super
what about
excited.
Kenny Pickett? Do you think he gets picked?
Only if you want to lose. And it's not that he's a terrible quarterback. It's that he's your only quarterback.
Yes.
If you draft, you know what I mean? Like
anyone who got a rookie quarterback last year in the rookie draft, they regretted it instantly. They may not have said it publicly, but in their heart they regretted it because.
I think it was only Mufali who got Lawrence.
John drafted.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's because they're locked to your roster. No one can trade for them because they have to drop their quarterback, right? So it's just a tough situation. So
there's no guarantee Pickett starting week 1 too. You know what I mean?
No. Don't. Here's an advice to the new guys: don't draft a quarterback in the rookie draft.
Not this class.
Not this class. Do not do it. Do not do it. The running back's a little bit weaker. It's some decent depth, I guess, but the linebacker's really weak too. I mean, outside of Devin Lloyd, I don't know of any linebackers I'm even interested in. Anyway, sorry, I didn't want to go off course, but we're excited for the rookie draft.
Yeah, and for some reason I didn't look at the timeline. I called James and said, "Hey, we need the podcast." I'm pretty sure this is an episode where we're talking about the rookie draft, and I got him excited. He agreed to join, and then moments before I called him, I'm like, yeah, so this isn't that episode, actually.
The old bait and switch.
That's
right. How you're going to play it.
I hooked him. I got him.
Hey, Jameson, do a lot of preparation. Come on the show for the rookie podcast. Oh, gotcha. Just kidding. We'll do that next week.
No, this is honestly going to be more of like a free ball episode, except for this next part. Which is gonna be fun. We only did it for offensive players. Didn't do for any defensive players because, in the grand scheme of things, like IDP's only been used in our league for 4 or 5 years now, roughly. So not very long in the grand scheme of our league. So this segment is called Fantasy Heavyweights, and with the Fantasy Heavyweight segment, this is going to be talking about players who I'm talking like freaking dominated between the years of 2010, when we first founded the league, and 2021, last season. And we're going to do it one player or two players in one position, compare them on who we would rather have today if they put up those numbers or had that kind of performance. And we have done no legitimate research on this, by the way. It was shooting from the hip here, but I feel like the player list is pretty solid. So interested to see what other people say. So you ready for the first one, Jameson?
I'm always ready.
So
always ready.
We're going to start with quarterbacks here. 2013 Peyton Manning, freaking career season for him, broken NFL records. versus 2015 Cam Newton. And I know some people are listening like, come on, dude, why did you pick 2015 Cam? That's such a homer move. Let me just say this. He averaged just over 50 points per game in our league that season in 2015. So, again, we're talking about LCC scoring. We're talking about NFL stats here. Cam Newton wasn't just breaking passing records. He was running the football really well in 2015 as well. So, I think you got to take that into consideration here when you're comparing these two guys.
So, from a fantasy perspective, this is kind of easy for me, and I'm going to get blamed as a homer because I'm a Panthers fan. But you always want to take the rushing quarterback, in my opinion, right? Like, super high floor. When you're running the ball as a quarterback in fantasy, that's incredibly valuable, right? So if I'm picking one of those guys for a fantasy team, it's got to be 2015 Cam, right? 2013 Peyton, though, he had like 55 passing touchdowns, I think.
Over
I'm not mistaken.
And almost 5,500 passing yards on top.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking incredible.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
I think that was the year I remember watching. Is that the year they lost to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, though?
Yes, it is.
I think it was that year.
Yep.
I remember watching. I've seen the highlights like a gajillion times. He threw like 5 touchdowns in like one half that season.
Yeah.
Like he threw a couple to like Julius Thomas, Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, and then some other guy who I don't even remember. And he was already like 37 or something like that at that point, which is crazy. I feel like
it is crazy to think about that season, man. I mean, it's not that just he had a great year, but he had so many weapons. The defense was solid too. It's just crazy. I'm looking at the stats now, and tell me if this changes your perspective here. But Peyton Manning also had 120 rushing yards that season. All right, does that change anything for you?
Oh man, it doesn't change my opinion, but I will say it's very surprising. If you had asked me how many rushing yards he had in his entire career, I would have said like 120. So the fact that you had that in one season is pretty impressive.
I'm about to blow your mind. In Peyton Manning's, 17-year career, you're gonna be blown away here. He had just over 1,900 rushing yards.
Did he really?
Yes.
That must have been like young Peyton, like a slope, like a downhill slope, like young Peyton super high, and then it just got much lower. Because even Tom Brady only has like 1,000 rushing yards in his entire career. Or something along those lines.
His season best rushing yards. How many yards do you think it was?
I mean, I'm gonna guess 120 now. Since that's what he said. I mean, it can't be more than that, right?
I'm about to blow your mind. It's 232.
Wow, that's somewhat impressive.
I know,
that's pretty impressive for Peyton Manning. I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah,
that had to be like young Peyton Manning. Like maybe he took a bootleg 80 yards somehow. Like it's something, right?
Funny enough, that was only that'd be the second time in his career he would ever throw for 20 or more interceptions in a season. So if that says anything, and they finished 6-10, the Colts. This was 2001. So, yes.
Oh, so that explains. He's running for his life then.
Yeah.
We'll just chalk it up to that.
Although his sack percentage was still pretty low. It was like 5%. But still. I can't imagine Peyton
in comparison
rushing for 232 yards. Like that just seems like too much.
I can't either. In fact, I bet if you took Cam Newton's entire career, well, I mean entire, but not nearly as long as Peyton, but from 2011 to say 2018, I bet he never rushed for less than that in a season.
Ooh,
by a good bit.
Including the seasons where he got hurt during the year?
I mean, he still played like at least 10 games in a season, right?
Okay.
I mean, I know he had that wreck and he hurt his back there, but he only missed like 4 games that year, I think. I would say yes. He never had, from 2011 to 2018, he never had less than 232. That would be my bet.
I'm about to blow your mind, Jameson. Do you know the most yards he rushed for in a season? This can't be right. Hang on. Just guess real quick while I just verify.
I'm going to get the most yards he rushed for in a season. It's not over 1,000. That's pretty. I mean, it sounds. I mean, he's a rushing quarterback, right? But he doesn't really do his work like Lamar Jackson does. He's not breaking 85-yard runs a lot. So it's not like 1,000 yards because that's pretty tough to do. I would say it was like 870.
The most
it's probably hit the most he ran for in a season.
Nope, he never ran for that much. The most he ever ran for was 754 in 2017. Wasn't even the 2015 season we're talking about here.
Wow.
He averaged roughly like 5.5 yards per carry. Cam Newton, I think people forget this. Cam Newton did more scrambling behind the pocket than he did actually running for long runs. I mean, he had those plays, but a lot of times he was extending the play. Or if he
what was the lowest amount?
The lowest, okay.
Yeah. What's the lowest for between that time, 2011 2018?
-2 in 2019.
No, okay. So what about 2011 to 2018? Because he got hurt in 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. The lowest actually was only 359 in 2016.
Okay, so that makes sense. Because I said there's no way it's less than that Peyton's career high in a season.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. 350 something to 750 something. I don't know. Now that I think about it, I might take Peyton Manning's 2013 if I don't know, man. That's tough.
2015, Cam Newton had 636 rushing yards with 10 rushing touchdowns. And then passing, Cam Newton had 3,837 passing yards with 35 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
How many rushing touchdowns did he have?
10.
See, that's really where he made his money then as a fantasy quarterback was the rushing touchdowns.
But here's the thing.
Because the passing
that's
touchdowns,
45 total.
That's
45 total. And then 2013 Peyton had 55. He said
give me 20.
More. He still had like
give me 2013 Peyton.
Same.
I think the 10 extra touchdowns are worth more than the 500 extra rushing yards, maybe.
I think Cam
I think it'd be very close.
Had the ability to get you more points in a single game. If that makes any sense at all, just because he had those games where he would run for multiple touchdowns and get like over 100 rushing yards and stuff, or roughly 100. So he had the potential to have a higher ceiling, I felt like, but Peyton's floor, his ceiling was extremely high, but his floor was also extremely high. So I would take 2013 Peyton Manning, and so would my dad,
I think
because I think
back then, passing touchdowns were worth the same as rushing touchdowns.
Yes.
That's not the case anymore, but that was the case back then.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, I don't know. I'd probably pick 2013 Peyton. I think it's very close. I think you would have fun either way.
Yeah.
But you said there was a quarterback that was number 4 that year who I tried guessing off the show and I couldn't guess.
So
in 2015.
I asked Jameson, and I want everyone to put their thinking caps on while you're listening. Go back to 2015 NFL, right? Carolina Panthers 15-1. Denver Broncos play them in the Super Bowl. They win that, all right? So forget Peyton Manning had a horrible year that year. Forget Cam Newton. Obviously, he was number 1 that year. Number 4 on this list. I'm going to go 1 through 3. All right. Number 1, Cam Newton. Number 2, Tom Brady. Number 3, Russell Wilson. Number 4, quarterback from University of Central Florida, Blake Bortles.
Oh, my God.
2015, Blake Bortles rocked your world if you had him, which Jordan did in fantasy that year.
That's disgusting.
Bortles averaged 44.6 points per game, had a total of 714 points for the season. His best game of the season, he scored 65 points in Week 13. He actually broke 60 3 times that year. Week 16, Week 13, and Week 5. His worst game, if this tells you anything, was 17 points in Week 17.
It's crazy. It's crazy because when you were telling me that off the show, you were like, James, you're not even close. I guess Russell Wilson, I guess Tony Romo, because I remember Tony Romo played Denver that year, and Tony Romo had like 90 points in a game or something like that.
Actually,
It was crazy.
I think Romo had retired at this point. Or he got
No.
hurt. He wasn't, because he's not even in the top like 32.
What year am I thinking? Wait, what year is it? 2015?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of 2013. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let me check that. I'm gonna. You keep going, but yeah.
But then, no, it's 2013. Now that I'm saying it, I think they were playing Denver, and he had like 90 points because Russell was still fairly new in the league at that time. Anyway, I remember thinking about Blake Bortles, and I was like, no, Patrick's gonna laugh at me if I say that, because I was sure that Blake Bortles was more fantasy relevant in 2017 when they went to the AFC Championship game. I did not know he was lighting it up in 2015.
Okay.
So that is interesting.
Peyton Manning, too. One of his worst seasons ever. NFL and fantasy history. He was hurt that year, too. He averaged 24.7 points per game and finished as QB 32 in fantasy that year. I'm going to name... Oh. This is 2015. This is just for shits and giggles at this point. I'm going to name some quarterbacks who finished ahead of Peyton Manning in scoring. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Number 31, Colin Kaepernick, averaged 28.8 points per game.
Okay.
Number 30, Brock Osweiler in Denver. averaged 32.8 points per game. Averaged more than Peyton Manning did. They both didn't play a full season. Number 29, and this is going to blow everyone's mind, he averaged 37.1 points per game. Blaine Gabbert. Gabbert. Didn't even play a full year. He was in San Fran that year.
I was going to say, where was he even playing that year? But that makes sense.
Because Colin Kaepernick went down, and then he filled in. Number 28, and this really will kind of... I'm about to run off some names people aren't going to believe. Josh McCown, number 28, was playing in Cleveland and averaged 38 points per game. Andrew Luck was QB 27. He was banged up that year, didn't play a full season, averaged 44 points per game. Then number 26 here, Brian Hoyer in Houston. Joe Flacco, Marcus Mariota, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold. Sam Bradford.
I was going to say, what?
Sam Bradford, 22, in Philadelphia. Andy Dalton, 21. Jay Cutler, 20. Ben Roethlisberger, 19. Tyrod Taylor, number 18, averaged 40 points per game.
In Buffalo,
yeah,
right?
In Buffalo, yep.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan, QB 17. Ryan Tannehill, 16. Jameis Winston, 15. Alex Smith, QB 14. In Kansas City. He already moved to Kansas City. Derek Carr, I think he's a rookie. QB 13. Ryan Fitzpatrick, God, he never ceases to amaze me. QB 12 that year, played a full season in New York for the Jets. And then we'll go through the others because that's you can probably guess everyone else after that besides Blake Bortles.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was 2015 Peyton though, man. He was throwing ducks.
Yes.
If you remember watching that season, he was not playing well. Even in the Super Bowl, he didn't play well. The defense carried that game for sure. So he was not throwing touchdowns.
God, I want that soundbite so bad. I don't even know where to find that. It's like the best. Oh man.
I think I make one back when I was on the show. I thought I made one. I just got it off YouTube
because that
and snipped it.
Gold. That is interview gold right there.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Let's move on to our next question here at running back.
Yeah.
2012 Adrian Peterson versus 2019 Christian McCaffrey versus 2020 Derrick Henry. We got a three-way run, and I know it sounds crazy because people most recently thinking Derrick Henry dominated in 2020, Christian McCaffrey dominated in 2019. People forget 2012 Adrian Peterson ran for over 2,000 yards for the Vikings that year. Just went off. Completely dominated the league.
Was that when he returned from his surgery?
Yes.
Blowing out his ACL or something like that? Yeah, he's amazing that year. In a full PPR, I would imagine you take McCaffrey, right? I mean, 1,000 yards receiving, a point per catch. He'd have to be the pick at a PPR, but in a standard league, man, it's interesting. Adrian Peterson,
All right.
That was a fun year.
So Adrian Peterson, 2012, he had 2,097 rushing yards with 12 rushing TDs. He also had 40 receptions for 217 rushing yards and 1 receiving TD. And that's really what gets him, honestly. I feel like that hurts his, in terms of like how I value him between the 3 of those players in those 3 seasons. You know what I mean?
40 receptions, though, that's kind of more than I thought. I mean, I didn't expect a lot less than that, but I didn't expect 40.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. I mean, Derrick Henry probably has close to 40, right, in 2020? Maybe less?
Actually,
Was
it's
it
less.
less?
So Derrick Henry only ran for 2,027 yards, had 17 rushing touchdowns though, only 19 receptions for 114 yards, 0 receiving TDs.
Ooh. So he had 5 more rushing touchdowns, but he had like 20 something less catches. I think he had more touch. I mean, the touchdowns though are pretty relevant there.
Now,
What do you think, Henry or Peterson?
but if I had to pick between both of those, give me Adrian Peterson. Here's my next one though. 2019 Christian McCaffrey, 1,387 rushing yards, right? I mean, good, but not anything close to what those 2 guys did. 15 rushing touchdowns,
Whew.
1,005 yards receiving with 116 receptions and 4 receiving touchdowns. Dude had almost 20 total touchdowns that season.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go McCaffrey. I mean, like I said, in the PPR, 1,000 receiving, 116 receptions. That is almost 80 more than Adrian Peterson
Yes.
in a season. That is unbelievable. 1,000 receiving and 1,300 rushing yards. I mean, he would have to be the choice of the 3 in a PPR league for sure.
Yeah.
100% for sure. More total touchdowns. That was an amazing season.
I gotta go Christian for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a little biased too. He's my favorite player, but yeah, for sure. I mean, even the stats back that up. But we actually saw him do that. The last game of the season against New Orleans and Charlotte that year. Yeah, 1,000. Him and Marshall Faulk, and maybe. I mean, I'm sure there was one other player. I can't remember who it is. Eric Dickerson, maybe. I don't know.
Let me ask you something.
That seems like not right.
Without looking it up, how many times in Christian McCaffrey's year has he had 10 or more total touchdowns in a season? He played in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. You can scratch 2020.
So not 2020, not 2021, not 2017, because he only had like 400 and something rushing yards in 2017. So I'm going to say 2018 and 2019. That's it. Just 2.
Yep, just 2. 2 seasons.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is people think, even I think, as him as this dominant fantasy force over many, 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 many years, and that's not the case. It's been 2 seasons. That's it. His entire career, it's 2 seasons. He wasn't fantasy relevant 2017, 2020, or 2021, but when he is on the field, even if it's just a few games a season, he is like a top. He's an unbelievable back. But it just feels like he's been doing it so much longer because of the volume. But it was just 2 amazing seasons.
Yeah.
But that's it.
No,
that is it.
I mean, it's crazy to think about. By the way, we're talking about running back usage and their offense. I want you to think of something real quick. And Christian McCaffrey's best season, he had. Let me do the math here. Hang on, let me get my calculator. Calculate this. All right, so he had 287 rushing attempts plus 116 receptions. So it's 403 touches in that season. That's a lot. That is a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Now, a bruising, fast, dominant running back from Adrian Peterson 2012, right? I mean, again, we just said he had, he was 3 yards short of having short. He probably did short after all that. Honestly, I would have 3 yards short of 2,100 rushing yards, right? How many touches do you think Adrian Peterson had?
Man, I remember watching highlights of a game. I think they were playing the Chargers. that in that season. And I mean, he touched the ball. It had to be like 38 times or something crazy like that. I'm gonna say 378.
It was 388 touches. Christian
Whew.
McCaffrey had more touches in 2019. Like, we're talking about usage. Christian was getting utilized more than Adrian Peterson was in one of the greatest rushing seasons in NFL history by a running back. And this is obviously in the era of the quarterback and modern day quarterbacks and stuff like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, guys like them. So to think about that for a minute, like Christian McCaffrey was overutilized, has been, unfortunately, his entire career because of Carolina's lack of ability to do anything offensively for a while. That's just, God, that's hard to believe, dude. That's a lot. That is a lot.
It is a lot. There's also a level of efficiency that he has that's very tough to mimic for a lot of players. Like he's unbelievable from a fantasy perspective. Unfortunately, it seems like it's caught up to him, but it is amazing that he had more touches than Peterson. And he also stayed. I remember in 2019 watching a game, and it was late in the season, and there was a stat that came up. It was like he had been on the field for like 99% of the offensive plays at that point. And it was like week 14. And I was like, how the hell is that even possible? like most running backs get missed games, much less, take snaps off or they're schemed out of a drive or whatever, not third down backs or whatever. And he was on the field for like 99% of the offensive plays. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
By the way, I know everyone's wondering since we talked about Derrick Henry earlier, he also had fewer touches than Christian McCaffrey in that, magical season of 2020. Just crazy to think about. We'll go to receivers here before we wrap up, and we got 2012 Andre Johnson versus. Oh wait, hang on. I don't think it was supposed to be Andre. I think it was supposed to be Calvin Johnson.
Is it Calvin? Yeah.
2012 Calvin Johnson versus 2021 Cooper Kupp. And I mean, I set off to show Jameson like this is a no-brainer. I got to go Cooper Kupp. Although I like Megatron way more watching him like on TV and stuff.
From a fantasy perspective, yeah, you've got to go Cooper Kupp. I mean, what he did this year. I mean, how many total touchdowns did Cooper Kupp have this year? It felt like it was like 17. It was a lot.
I can pull it up right now, actually. Let's see. Wait, am I looking the right year here? 2022. Oh,
2021.
Yeah, hang on. I'm looking at projected stats, not actual. Cooper Kupp had, first of all, let's just talk fantasy for a second. He averaged 42.6 points per game, which is more than any receiver ever in league history in our league. But if we're talking actual NFL stats here, the man had 138 receptions for 1,829 yards, 15 touchdowns. And he also had 3 rushing attempts, believe it or not.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So that's pretty impressive. Calvin Johnson, though, is a player. I would take Calvin as a player all day long, with no comparison. As far as like a real life NFL player, and there's a reason he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He was fun to watch, man. Goodness, he was so much fun to watch.
Out of the, how many games they played? They played 17 games. Out of the 17 games he played, how many games did he go Cooper Kupp go without a touchdown?
In 17 games?
Yeah.
Well, he had 15 touchdowns, so it was at least 2, but there was somewhere he doubled up. I would say he went 5 games without a touchdown.
6 games.
6 games. Okay. Which means there were a lot of games where he got 2 touchdowns then.
There were. In fact, he had, let's see here. He had 5 games where he had 2 touchdowns. He never had 3 or more. Only 2 was the most he ever had in a single game.
Man, that's pretty fantasy. That's a nice fantasy floor for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, his worst game of the season was, well, it was pretty bad. It was 16 points against Arizona in week 4. But outside of that, he dominated.
You do have to take a little bit away from Cooper Kupp, though, and this is not his fault, but he did have an extra game to do that. But he still averaged more than anyone else in history, so that's not like it's really held against him, but from a total volume perspective, he did have an extra game that Calvin Johnson didn't have. So, in all fairness.
Trick question for you. Who is older, Cooper Kupp or Derrick Henry?
Oh, this is easy, man. It's Cooper Kupp. You can't trick me, Patrick. I know these things. Cooper Kupp's 29 years old.
They're both 28 years old.
I thought he was 29 years old.
Nope.
I know Derrick Henry's 28.
Cooper Kupp will be 29 on June 15th.
Oh, okay. So he'll be 29 when the season starts.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference.
Does that not alarm me? Not so much Cooper Kupp, but Derrick Henry's about to be 29, dude.
It doesn't. No, from a fantasy perspective, it does not. And I know about the whole like running back fall off at 27, 28, blah, blah, blah. I know all those things. I've seen all the data. But here's the thing about Derrick Henry. He had 2,000 receiving yards, or rushing yards, sorry, 2 years ago with like 17 touchdowns. Last year, he was on pace for another 1,900 rushing yards. And he still had double-digit touchdowns in like 8 games. He was on pace for 20 touchdowns last year in 1,900 rushing yards. So, and this is in a pass offense with no O-line, well, not a great O-line, and no receiving volume, and he's still putting up RB1 numbers. So until he shows me otherwise, no, I'm completely in on Derrick Henry. I don't care that he's 29 years old. I don't care that he had foot surgery. I do not care. Until I see the drop-off, I'm not buying it. Derrick Henry is a top 3 RB, 100%.
Who's older, Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey?
Derrick Henry.
How old do you think Christian McCaffrey is?
Christian McCaffrey is 27.
He is 25.
Is he really?
He's only 25 years old.
Jesus Christ, that guy has aged like
dude.
The opposite of fine wine. What ages poorly?
Like, man.
Bread very quickly. It gets moldy very fast.
In all fairness, though, his birthday is June 7th, so he'll be 26 in just a few days.
He's been in the league for 5 years, though.
Yep.
Goodness gracious, man.
Feels like he's been in the league for 10.
Dude, he doesn't have much left, I'm telling you.
It's sad, dude. I'm like 5 years older than this guy, almost.
He's amazing when he plays, but if he has another injury-riddled season, his career's over. It's done. It is done. He'll be the way of Todd Gurley very soon.
It's sad.
Speaking of age, Todd Gurley's probably the same age as Derrick Henry. If I had to bet.
Man. That is really depressing if that's true. Let me check. Hang on.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. Yeah, he's 1 year older.
It feels like he's like 8.
He's 1 year older than Todd Gurley, which is crazy that he's a year older and he's still, the best running back in the league, and Todd Gurley's already gone.
All right, here's another player that feels ancient, but they're actually pretty young. It's Saquon Barkley. He's 25 years old. In fact, he just turned 25 in February. Last season, he was 24.
Who's older, Amari Cooper or Derrick Henry?
It's got to be Amari. No, to imagine.
Dude, Amari Cooper's only 27.
Are you serious?
Dude, Amari Cooper came in the league at like 19 or 20 years old.
Dude, that blows my mind. That blows my mind.
In fact, I've got a good one for you. Hold on. This one. Well, I don't know. Who's older? Never mind. They're not as close in age as I thought they were. Najee Harris is like almost 25 years old, though.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Here's a name that's going to be irrelevant, and he's been irrelevant for a while now, but he was very relevant at one point. Carlos Hyde.
Yes.
How old?
He's about the same age as Todd Gurley, so I would say 27. He's 28.
He's 31.
Is he really?
Yes. He'll be 32 in September.
Is he that old?
Yes.
I mean, I know he wasn't a great running back. He had a couple of good seasons. Is he that old?
Yes.
Wow. The 2014 draft. I swear it wasn't that long. I thought it was like the 2016, 2017 draft. Let's see. So he came in. He was already like 23 years old when he came in the league then. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Wow. Well, sorry guys, we went on a tangent about player age in the NFL.
Hey, it's interesting. It's crazy, man. It like Cooper Kupp, like he's 29. Like he came in the league super old, like Najee.
Yeah.
So Adam Thielen kind of did the same thing. He didn't break out until he was like 27.
Yeah.
28. So
Well,
anyway,
that's all we got, guys. Next week will be about the rookie draft. Obviously, so we'll be leading up to it and stuff. And I'm excited. I've got to go this weekend and trim everyone's rosters down after keepers. I haven't done that yet. Just a lot going on and stuff. But I will definitely be doing that. Along with, then I guess Jameson. At that point, you can start working on the actual keeper stuff behind the scenes or whatever.
yeah. Once everyone gets the rookies in and we do the waiver wire, then I'll actually put I'll start officially putting the roster stuff in the draft.
Okay. Oh, in the draft
Cool.
board, yeah.
Yeah, on the draft board. So
cool. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys next week. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. The holidays. For those who have served our country, thank you. We'll catch y'all later.
goodbye.